Welcome to another episode of the Offer Mojo Show, where we talk all about crafting, scaling, marketing, and selling aligned and profitable offers. We have a very fun topic today. This is a topic that I've kind of gotten my feet wet in, but I don't know near as much as I want to know. So I'm excited to have our guest today. We are going to be talking about bundles and how we can use bundles in our business to sell more of our offers. And I think it's also important to note too, what I have used bundles for so far is for email list growth. I participated in a couple of bundles last year for the very first time, had really good results. So when I actually participated even in Allison's, our guest bundle last year. And I don't know, I love them. They're just a lot of fun. And I just thought, let's bring Allison on and talk about bundles, because I know just from talking to other business colleagues that people have heard about them, but they don't necessarily understand like the real benefits of them. So let me introduce to you Allison Hardy. She is an email marketing strategist for coaches and online business owners who want to sell their offers on autopilot without constantly launching or living on social media. That, oh my God, that to me is just like a dream. Through her signature membership, Emails That Sell, she helps entrepreneurs create high converting email funnels that do the heavy lifting, so they can spend more time living and less time hustling. With over a decade of experience, Allison has been featured in the Huffington Post, named one of Washington, D.C.'s most influential professionals under 40, and has built multiple six-figure business while raising two kids and redefining what success looks like for CEO moms. Known for her punchy messaging, zero fluff strategies, and ability to make email fun. She says, yes, really, it can be fun. Allison is the tough love marketing bestie you didn't know you needed. Welcome, Allison, to the show. I'm so excited to get into this topic. Why don't we just start with you sharing with the audience a little bit about like your background, how you got started in your business, and then kind of how did you like transition to becoming like kind of a bundle expert?
Yeah. First off, Lori, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I started my business because I got laid off. I was
Okay.
6 months pregnant.
Oh.
I was teaching at the college level. I had the job. I did all the right things. And then one minute I had the job, and then the next minute I didn't.
Okay.
And at the time, my husband was a youth director at a church making like literally $25,000 a year.
Oh,
So I
wow.
didn't have the ability to not work. So I was like, all right, what are we going to do, Allison? I let myself like flounder for like a week, and then I was like, all right, time to make some money. So I started my business. I had a personal training certification at the time, and I was like,
Oh, wow.
We're just going to start a personal training business.
Okay.
6 months pregnant, because why not? I did that. I had a lot of connections in the space, so I was able to like borrow other people's platforms and really grow my business relatively quickly. And then people started asking me like, how did you do that? And for me, it was like pretty obvious what I was doing, but I mean, this was like 2013. So people were like, no, I don't know how things are done. So I, started coaching people around that, and then eventually got rid of the personal training side of things and then went full on to business. But I landed on email marketing because what I found was a lot of my clients had a lot of life going on, and myself included. And they needed a way to sell their services, their offers, whatever the thing is that they're selling, on autopilot without them actually having to show up live. So that's when email marketing became like the thing for me. And then COVID hit. My two kids now came home for 2 years, and I was like, all right, well, we got to figure something else out. And so that's when the whole idea of like launching and having the email funnel really started to come into things. And that's when I started my membership. Now, bundles came into the picture in 2023 because I had hit the roadblock that a lot of people hit. I tapped out my audience. I had these launches, they went okay, but the launches started to kind of just slowly go downhill a little bit. The conversion rates started to dip. And so I realized I needed more people in my audience. And I was using Facebook ads. They were great and wonderful. But again, Facebook ads are a little capped because of how they work. And you only see as much output as you put in. So there was a finite amount of money. And so I saw growth there, but I wanted more growth. And so one of my friends hosted a bundle, and she was like, I got 2,500 subscribers. And I was like, how?
Exactly how.
Tell me more. When she told me about it, she told me I did it. And I was like, all right, we're going to bootstrap a bundle. So December of 2023 was when I first launched my first bundle. And my goal was just like 500 people. For me, that was like a dream at the time. Sure. And I had 1,250 people sign up. And that was it. I was like, okay, cool. I want to keep doing this. Like, we're going to keep going down this rabbit hole. So over the next 2 years, I ended up hosting 15 bundles. And
my gosh, are you kidding me?
No.
Like, are you like a glutton for punishment?
No.
Or you just must have a system down.
System. Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, and like, let's call it like it is. I didn't have the system in the beginning. So like I had to develop this. So yeah, probably a bit of a glutton for punishment. But my email list grew from 4,000 to 11,000. I was able to cross the 600 like lifetime member mark in my membership, which was super cool. And while there's other things working in the background, I can say that bundles are one of the main reasons why I was able to achieve that. So that's why I focus on bundles, and that's how I landed there.
Yeah, I love that. So like I mentioned earlier, I haven't had quite like that success, but last year was the first time that I participated in them. Right. And there's another business owner, you might know her, Kelly Sinclair.
Oh, she's one of my biz besties. Yes.
I love her. Yeah, I love her. So anyway, I participated in one of her bundles last year, and I got, I think, about 145 signups, which was, according to her, overall signups that she got, like, since it's building her list, it was about 24% of the overall, which was like huge. Yes. And then I participated in yours, and I got probably 90 to 100 signups. So, but like I mentioned, I have never hosted my own bundle. Right. I've only used it for email list growth. And when I think about a bundle, I think it seems fun, but it also seems like overwhelming. Like, whoa, that's a lot to manage. So let's talk about like, what's the key to like having or hosting a successful bundle?
Yeah, I think from like the outward perspective, it's making sure that your title and your tagline are very, very clear as to who it's for and who it's not for. So that as the host, you are building your email list with people who are actually ideal for you.
Got it.
I think that's like the number one on the outside. On the inside, like on the back end, as someone who's hosting it, it's having the systems in place. Right. So like I can host a bundle with 30 people in it. I can host a bundle with 200 people in it. And it's not the work is not drastically different because it's systemized at that point. Yes, there's obviously with more people, there's like a little bit more back and forth. There's maybe some questions you have to ask, things like that. Right. Things, but it's not like a massive more amount of work like you would probably think it is.
Got it. So let's talk about like, what does a successful bundle like actually mean? Like, how do you measure like whether or not that bundle that you ran was actually successful for you?
Yeah. So whenever I host a bundle, I always have a masterclass like after the bundle closes. So like the one that you're in closed December 12th.
Okay.
The bundle resources were live through December 31st. And then I hosted a masterclass like January 7th or something like that. So shortly after the bundle, like all the resources expired, then was my masterclass. So for me, that's really the end game, is the masterclass. Is like,
Okay.
I got the right people in the bundle because of the topic and the title and who I collaborated with, so that I set myself up for success with that masterclass. So for me, that's it. Now, other people, their sole purpose is to grow their email list. Some people's sole purpose is to like have a bundle that makes them money, because you can do that. Some people are like, okay, I want to elevate my visibility. So I think like there's a couple of different goals. I think you can do all three. And obviously my perspective of like the selling the thing at the end is really the most important part. But it's kind of like what makes most sense for you, and then working specifically towards that goal.
Okay. So, one of the things that I know I've heard in the space about bundles is, oh yeah, they're great to participate in or host or whatever, but you get a lot of freebie seekers that are signing up. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I think in general that's probably true. But what has your experience been?
I think when bundles are specific, then they're not freebie seekers, and then you don't get the freebie seekers. So I think, like, again, it goes back to that title and that tagline. When it's very clear as to who is this for, who is this not for, and then you have collaborators that are actually complementary to that, so the folks who are offering up the resources inside the bundle, that's when it becomes not freebie seekers and actually like really ideal people. And just from a contributor point of view, if you're not hosting the bundle, it's having a resource in there that's very specific to your ideal client. So like a very granular thing, or like very specific to your offer, whatever it is that you sell. So I think it's specificity. And I think that goes for most things when it comes to marketing. The more specific we can be, the better. But
100%.
I really think it's like having that dialed in. And it's also understanding that, yeah, some people are just here to download your free stuff, and that's okay. They'll unsubscribe, they'll eventually fall off, whatever. You'll clean your list and they'll go away, and that's fine. Right. But I also think it's important knowing going into it that, yeah, some people are actually there and they are only going to go after the free stuff, and that's their prerogative.
Sure. I think it would be helpful to share with the audience maybe just some examples of bundles that you've like hosted in the past, like what the name of them were, like what the purpose was, who you were targeting, and just to give people like an understanding. Because like I know for me, I start thinking about like, okay, if I were to host a bundle, like who would I call in? What would the theme be? Like that part of it is very confusing. And then there's another question I want to ask to follow up that just popped into my brain, but let's start with that.
Yeah. So I have two examples.
Okay.
One that on the surface was super successful, but actually wasn't. And then one that on the surface wasn't super successful, but totally was.
Okay.
So I did a bundle last February called the AI Marketing Squad. It's when AI was like super, like everyone was like, oh my gosh, AI. So I was like, let's do something super current. And for me, I was like, I was interested in talking about AI because I do have in my membership AI assistants that help them to write their emails and know the strategy and all that. So I was like, okay, I have in my offer that I'm going to sell them, I have the AI assistant. So bringing people in that are interested in AI and I can really like showcase the AI side of things, cool. I think that makes sense. So it made sense in my head when I first did it. Sure. So I did the bundle and I had like 2,500 people opt into the bundle.
Wow. Okay.
So on the surface, it looked like it was super successful.
Sure.
And then I ran the masterclass and I had 2 people buy.
Okay.
And both of them.
And the masterclass was about what?
It was the same masterclass, but I kind of zhuzhed it more towards AI.
Okay.
So it's called Sell on Autopilot with AI. That's how I zhuzhed it.
Okay.
Like an AI component to it. And so like, again, for me, like, okay, that makes sense. Wehowever, what I think happened between where the disconnect was that those people weren't there to necessarily they weren't there to learn email. They were there to just talk about AI and learn things about AI. So that was the disconnect. So on the
Right.
surface, again, looks super successful, but like deep inside, it actually wasn't super successful.
Okay.
The other side of things is I have run a bundle called Emails That Make Bank multiple times.
Okay.
And this one is my most successful one. However, it brings in the least amount of leads. It brings in the least amount of email list growth. So
Right.
on average, I'll have like 800 people opt into that bundle. So
Okay.
on the surface, it looks not successful. However, because they are there to learn about email, and then I'm like, hey, I have this email marketing membership for them.
Right.
That match made more sense. So they're
Got
a
it.
more qualified audience for my business.
Right.
So those are like two examples, but I also run like broader bundles. So like the Next Step bundle that we did at the end of December, or I always run around my birthday in August. It's called Allison's whatever birthday bash. Those ones are broader, and really I know that I'm just going after volume at that point. I know more people there are not ideal, but it's more of like an experiment in growth for that part. So it, again, it goes back to the goal, and it goes back to, is the bundle actually getting the right people into your email list? And like, what are you okay with? Are you okay with smaller numbers that are more qualified? Are you okay with bigger numbers that may not be as qualified? What do different audiences need, and how can you, meet them where they are?
Right. Okay. So let's talk about the emails that, what is it again? Emails about something about bank, like that make bank, right? Emails that make bank. Okay. So that's obvious that, as an email marketing like strategist, that's obviously tied. And this is something that I talk a lot about too, in regards to like offers, like when I'm building like an offer suite, starting from a freebie to a low ticket, whatever. And even like any kind of marketing that you're doing out in the world to bring people into your offers needs to be aligned with your offers, right? Like, I'm not going to go speak on, I don't know, some random topic that does not like tie back to offers, right? So it makes sense that particular bundle like was very aligned for your audience. Let's talk about, I guess, how you go about choosing like the right kind of people, because that's very targeted, like email marketing. So like when you're looking at like different like collaborators that would come into that bundle to help you like build a list, what kind of people are you looking for?
Yeah. So like for the Emails That Make Bank bundle, I really went into my warm audience. So I have a couple of folks that I know that are email marketing experts. I was like, cool, awesome. Let's ask them first. Then I go to the Instagram and I start searching hashtags and keywords to find people that are also doing email marketing. So when I pitch someone, what I do is I send them an info sheet, and the info sheet has like everything spelled out, like who it's for, what the purpose of, what's in it for them, and then an application. And so the application allows me to kind of screen people. It also allows me to see, like, if they have a resource, I always have a category section in there. So like, here's your resource. What would you categorize this as? And so like with Emails That Make Bank, it's like subject lines, call to action, copy, messaging, tools, like very specific to email marketing. So it helps me to see like, if they were to categorize it as something, their resource is something, where is that? And then I can see like the holes. Like I have a whole bunch of people who are into copy. Cool. But I have like one person who can do something around subject lines. Great. I need to find someone else who could do something inside of subject lines, or ask one of the copy people, do you have anything specific to subject lines? Things like that. So that's one of the ways I do it. I also ask for referrals inside of that. So, do you know anyone who you think would be a good fit for this bundle?
Right.
Because that's easy, right? I can reach out to that person. I can say, hey, this person recommended me or recommended you. I'd love to have you. And then I also go to Google and I'll search like terms that I know email marketers use, and I'll see what comes up, and I'll just
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So first it's warm, then it's Instagram, then it's like recommendations, then it's Google.
Got it. So you're doing quite a bit of research to pull in the right people.
In the really targeted bundles, yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do a lot of research. In the broader bundles, I don't do as much, because what I'll do also is with 11,000 people on your email list, I can email, out my bundle and be like, hey, I've got a bundle, who wants to be in it? And I'll get a lot of applications. So like, it's a little bit of a lazier way of doing things.
Sure.
But I feel like
it works
for those very specific bundles, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say to someone who is looking to, I guess, participate? Maybe they've never like done a bundle like before. And they're like, okay, they're curious. They think, well, maybe this might work for me. What would you say to a person that's considering participating in a bundle, but they're not quite sure how to go about finding bundles, or even like how to know what is the right strategic collaboration?
Yeah, it's a great question. So as people in the online space, we're on other people's email lists, right?
Right.
So usually when people are in a bundle, there's a requirement for them to promote. So as you start to get those emails, you can contact the person who's hosting that bundle and be like, hey, I'd love to be a part of your next bundle. Or do you have any people who are you connected to anyone who's hosting a bundle in the future? So you can start to like do that outreach yourself. You can join networking groups. I'm in a couple that really help me to like use other people's audiences and be in other people's bundles. And I think also once you start to host them, you kind of get on people's radar as like, oh, this person hosts, so they must also participate. So it's like hosting a bundle is also a great way to land other collaborations because of that crazy amount of visibility that you get.
That's true. Right. That makes sense.
I'm always a fan of like creating your own momentum. So I'm always a fan of like, yes, of course, participating is great, but also like when you participate, you get 100, 200. I've had VIPs get up to like 400. But as the host, you get everything. So I just think like fast tracks your, it just fast tracks your, what you want to do, how you want to achieve, what goal you want to achieve.
Right.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, okay. It does. It does. And I think it just goes back to, being very strategic about like who you're collaborating with and who, like, building relationships, right? In communities. This is how you find out about these things. I mean, this is how like we met. I don't even know how. I think I got connected to you probably from Kelly Sinclair.
Probably.
Absolutely, because she
on the application, do you know anyone who'd be a good fit? And she was
right.
like,
yeah, absolutely. Exactly. That's a good question too on the application is, do you know of anyone who would be a good fit? And then you can find people. So I know myself, it's like, it feels fun because I love collaborating with other people. Of course, I'm a business owner. So do I want to grow my email list? Of course. So it seems like a fun thing to do. But then what happens is I go, oh my God, 50, like I see like Kelly's, she has the Year of the Bot bundle going on right now.
Yes.
And it's like 50 some collaborators in there. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that seems like so much work to manage that. So let's talk a little bit about how do you like pull something off? Like, how do you like make this work without like totally taxing your nervous system, totally stressing you out? Because when you said I hosted 20 some bundles in 2 years, I'm like, oh my God, that's almost like a bundle a month.
Yeah. So I do a hearty mix of Google Forms, Zapier, I don't even know how to say it. Zapier tags, and then just like email marketing. So I have how my bundles work is there's a call, there are applications, they're open for a certain time. Then I review everything. I take the people that I want to invite to actually be in the bundle and then send them like an intake form. Intake form to do at a certain time. And then usually 4 weeks later, the bundle opens and is live.
Right.
So the first month is for me to get people into the application. So I send out the info sheet, I do my research, all that. When someone fills out that application, there's a tag that happens in the background that when they submit that Google form, they get tagged something in my email marketing through Zapier.
Okay.
Then once the application's closed, I close that form and then I review, select the people that I want. And yes, there is a little bit of a manual situation there, but it's because I'm reviewing everybody.
Right.
But then it's like, okay, you have this tag of accepted. Cool. I'm going to email you through my email marketing because I can just tag everybody in email.
Okay.
Yay, you've been accepted. Here's your intake form. It's due on this day. And then I just go ahead and pre-schedule like, hey, we're a week out from intake forms due. Hey, we're 3 days out, 2 days out, 1 day out. It's due today.
Right.
And then if people don't fill it out, close the form and like they're out of luck.
They're just out of the bundle. Right. Makes sense.
But during that time when the intake forms, when I'm waiting to get those intake forms out, that's when I create the marketing materials for it. Because I'm not actually doing anything. I'm just waiting for those people to fill that out.
Sure.
So because I have though that system in place, because I've hosted these before, I can take like past, marketing materials and kind of like zhuzh them and shift them to this specific bundle. The thing that's the most work is when the intake forms are taken in and they're done, and that time between when that happens and when the bundle goes live. So you do have to set up the landing page, you do have to set up the resource page,
right?
But also, again, because I have done this before, I have that like template already created. So it is just like plugging people in. Yes, you have to make sure that the right image is with the right person, is with the right link and all that. So that is a component.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Make sure it's mobile friendly, all that.
Right.
Also, I'll get that done like a week out and then I'll email it to the contributors and I'm like, hey, I need you to look this over. I need you to do this, and this. And so yes, it's on me to do my best to make it as perfect as possible. And I have a team member that helps me too. But like at the end of the day, I'm only one person. She is only one person. I don't know your business like you do. Sure. So like I need you to check this thing and make sure.
Right.
So there's a little bit of accountability there on the contributors. And I don't see a lot of people doing that when it comes to hosting bundles. They just kind of like send it out and like, here you go. So I think that's helpful to add like a human component in there between me and the contributors. And then,
and during this time, like when you're waiting for the intake forms, all of those to come in, I get the piece about, building the landing page. Is this also the time when you're building all of the promo materials for the contributors to use to promote it?
Yes, it's when we create the graphics, the email swipe copy. And again, because we've done this so many times, we have like a lot of stuff that's just very templated. So we can just switch it around. It's really not a huge lift at all. But yeah, getting that up and running can, like the first time you're doing it, yes, of course, it will be some.
How long would you just anticipate if someone's for the first time? And I get, I'm, I have a background in systems, so I understand like once you create the system, you can like replicate it fairly easily. Right. Yeah. But that initial time, like how much time do you think is invested, and even money, is invested in that?
When it comes to like creating the marketing materials or everything that came before that?
Just the whole process of hosting and running a bundle.
Yeah. So the month where you are reaching out to potential contributors and inviting them to fill out the application, I usually spend an hour for like 2 weeks every day. Because I can get a good amount of stuff done in that time. So I can find people on Instagram, on Google. I can analyze the applications that are coming in and reach out to the recommendations. So I really focus in like a 2-week kind of like sprint there. And then, what will happen from it. And I kind of just release and let go. Then once the bundle applications are closed, the intake form, it does take a little bit of time to review the applications because you want to make sure you have the right people. So I provide 2-3 hours for that. Creating the marketing materials, I really go heavy on email marketing. That's how my people are required to promote. They want to promote on social, that's great, but like email marketing is my thing. So that's what we do. So I do put a lot of care into that. I'll give them 3 email swipe copies. So maybe like an hour per email to make sure you're relaying it appropriately. And then if I do images, I don't always do images for social, but sometimes people really like that. So
yeah, I do because I like to promote on social and email.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So maybe an hour for that. And then the thing that does take the most time is getting that resources page
Yeah, the landing page.
Yeah.
Right.
Once the intake forms are due and you're in that kind of like waiting period before it goes live, that is the most labor intensive. So for the resources page where all of the resources are like all 50 or 100, however many you have, I would put aside a good 10 hours for that just to make sure that you're not rushed, that you are doing your best you're able to do, that all the links work, and if you have any redirects on that page, all those are working, just to make sure that when you do present it to your contributors, it's like as perfect as you are possibly able to make it. Because there's going to be a mistake. You're going to forget someone. You're going to have the wrong link, wrong image, all that. Someone is going to be misspelled, and that's okay. You're a human. And while we try to do things as best as we can, sometimes we make mistakes, and that's okay.
Right.
That's like the most labor intensive part.
Yeah. I figured that. How about, I guess I want to talk about just a few little like specifics. Like, is there like an ideal number of contributors that makes a bundle successful? Like, is it 20? Is it 50? Is it 100? Is it like, is there like, an amount that is kind of a sweet spot?
Yeah, I think I've always aimed for 40, and I don't know why I've always aimed for 40, but it seems that when I have 40 contributors, I usually get 1,000 people into the bundle. That seems to be like the rule for me. Now, emails that make bank, because it is a very niched topic, I generally have less contributors for that. So I've done like a 30-person bundle.
Okay.
And that one was like 800 signups for it. So still like a good amount of.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
I always try to get at least 40 for my like somewhat specific bundles. For my broader bundles, I'm always like 100, if not more than
wow.
that. Yeah.
100.
So like the next step bundle that we had in December had 100 and I think 15 contributors, somewhere around
15. Okay.
Yeah. Because it was broader. So I was like, I need to make sure like this is a volume thing at this point.
Right. When we're talking about the contributors, one of the, obviously one of the things that makes it most successful for someone who's hosting a bundle is to have contributors that are active collaborators.
Yeah.
That's not the case with everyone. They want to just participate and get free signups. I happen to not be that kind of a collaborator. Like, I'm very, very active. I always follow through with what's required of me, and sometimes even more. Like Kelly's bundle requires 1 email to go out. I'm sending out 2. Yeah. She doesn't require social. I'm sending out social and stories. So how do you, like, is there anything that you can do to just like determine like who's an active collaborator and who would actually be a good partner that's going to make your bundle successful?
So I am very clear that it is required that you send 1 email to your entire list during this window to promote the bundle. It has to be a solo email, so nothing else in it. So I say that in the application, you have to like check a box that you understand that. In the intake form, I have, here's this date, this date, this date, this date, which one are you going to be sending on? And then every single email to the contributors of the bundle, I say, remember, here's like promo requirements. Here's the Google Drive folder if you need swipe copy. Like, I try to just like hone in and like say it over and over again, because repetition creates results. So that's how I approach it. I'm very clear that like, this is what's required. Now, that being said, there are always going to be people that do not follow the rules. And I think you can pretty much tell who that is based on how they interact with you inside of the bundle. So if you like email them and they don't, like if you like send a one-off email, like, hey, I have a question about something, and they don't email you back, they're probably not paying attention, and they're probably not going to promote. Like, I would argue that's the case.
Okay.
So, and like, I also think that those people kind of weed themselves out, because they probably don't get great results from the bundle because they're not plugged in, right?
Right.
So I think like part of it is like you can clearly communicate that. I think the other part of it is like understanding that that's just how some people are going to be, and like you can bless and release them, and that's okay. Also, if someone is like a total pain in the rear end. I've had that a couple times. You can just, not invite them again, and that's okay. But if you really want to get like granular, you can have like UTM codes or affiliate links, and that way you can see if they're using their link. I haven't gone down that road because I'm kind of the opinion that like you should just follow through with the stuff that you say you're going to do. And like, if you don't, like, that's just bad karma and that'll come back to get you. Maybe that's a bit lazy, but I am a bit lazy. So,
no, I know Kelly's bundle that I'm in right now does have a UTM code. And, interestingly enough, like when I'm participating in these, like I actually want to know if my audience is like clicking through and if this is something that they're interested in, because it tells me something about my audience. Now, I don't know that I would have to go back to Kelly, obviously, and say, hey, how many clicks did I get? She's, obviously measuring that and probably making judgments about whether or not I'm a good, collaborator. But yeah, for me, because I'm such an active collaborator, like I want to know, like, hey, was this something that my audience was interested in? Like, did they find it helpful? Like, or do I need to like find something else to participate in that might be more aligned with what they're looking for? Because yes, I'm looking at, growing my email list, but I'm also trying to provide value for my audience. So that's why I think we go back to like, don't participate in a bundle that is not aligned with your offers or your audience, or because you're just flooding your audience with things that are not related to what you do and not helpful for them. And to me, that's just not good for your brand reputation.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I find that when I participate in collaborations that maybe not 100% in alignment for me, like the results suck. And it's because they're not in alignment with me.
Right.
And that's okay. So I also think there's a matter of like being very, having like parameters around what it is that you're collaborating in as a participant in a collaboration. So like if I do email marketing, but I'm participating in a bundle about Instagram growth, like that literally makes no sense. So making sure that the bundles or the collaborations that you're participating in actually move your specific business forward. I think that's really like very important.
And here's where we're going to kind of like tie everything together now, because when we started this conversation, what we talked about was how to use bundles to sell more offers. Yeah. Let's talk about that piece of it, because email list growth is great. I mean, I'm going to be honest, like, because I am an honest person and a transparent person. I had a bunch of people sign up for one of my resources, which is an AI resource. And I want to say I had at least 150 people that had signed up for my Grace, the offer strategist. And I'm horrible because I did not have a funnel on the back end, which is okay. But I just sent out an email. Like everyone was tagged, right, when they came in. So I knew who bought. And I just wanted to know, like, hey, like, has anybody run Grace, the offer strategist? Have you gotten any feedback from her that was helpful for you? Like, and it was just dead. Like nobody responded. 9 people like unsubscribed from that email. How do we translate these bundles, whether we're hosting or participating, into actually selling our offers?
Yeah, it's building the bridge. So they downloaded Grace. What are their like next steps? So obviously you want them to use Grace. So do they need a few emails that are reminding them to use Grace? And why that's so important is that do the emails have video? So they get to know you, Lori, and they see like your mannerisms and your face and all that.
Right.
That's just like simple like check-ins like, hey, I'm here in your inbox because I want to make sure you're actually using Grace, because when you use her, you'll see X, Y, and Z. So talking about why she's important, why they should take the time out to use her. And then I think after you do that a couple times, then I think it's a good time to be like, hey, how'd it go? give me some feedback. I'd love to hear more. It might be that there's a forum. It might be that there's a poll. It might be that there's an invite to get on a call with you. Like having different ways to get feedback can be helpful. And like, oh, by the way, if you haven't used her yet, super cool. Here's the link again. And so like delivering that link a couple of times. I think sometimes you got to just hit people over the head. And also looking at the time of the year. So like that bundle that we were in was in December. People are generally really busy in December.
Right.
They're not paying as much attention. So it might be that those emails go out in January when people are like plugged back into work and they're doing their work. So there's a couple of factors that go into it. But I always think anything that happens with email funnels, it's like, what's the bridge? Like, what's the next step for them? How can you reiterate the first step? Multiple times, while super annoying for us. Like that's what needs to happen a lot of times. And like, how can you close the loop for them? And every time you close a loop, a new one opens. So what's that next step for them?
Right. So yeah, I know, I even knew going into this that I wasn't set up properly with the funnel on the back end, because honestly, I was just testing. Like I'm testing 2 of my bots right now, Grace, the offer strategist, and Elliot, the offer ecosystem architect. And I'm just seeing, are people even like interested in this? And they are. And so that tells me, okay, now I need to go back and I actually need to build the funnels, and the emails behind this. There's a little call to action if they actually run. Grace, there is another call to action at the very end of the GPT that says, hey, you want to meet the whole Offer Mojo squad, and gives like a discount code. So there's a tiny little, but they have to run her.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. They have to so that's like the barrier there.
Yeah. So, and then you obviously mentioned that when you host bundles, you are doing a masterclass like right after the bundle. And this is where you're selling your offer, correct?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Got it. Okay. This has been super, super helpful. I wanted to let everyone know that Allison and I are running a webinar on bundles, and it's very specific to my audience and really about how to like host a bundle. I'm looking forward to this webinar. The webinar is on May 20th at, I believe, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Does that sound right?
Yes, 10 a.m. Eastern time, and it's 1 o'clock. Yes.
1 o'clock Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time. You will get more details about that. But if bundles is something that you feel like, hey, I might want to try that this year, mark the date on your calendar, May 20th, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern time. That way, when information comes through to you, you'll already have it on your calendar. Anything else that you want to say about bundles before we wrap it up?
I think the thing to keep in mind about bundles is that they're kind of, they're 3-pronged. They grow your email list, they grow your visibility, and they have the ability to sell your offer. And so I think that when it comes to considering launching your offer or, getting to whatever goal that it is that you want, bundles can be a great way to do that. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. So you might as well give it a whirl and see how it goes. Everything's an experiment.
Right.
And so I hope that our listeners will join us on the masterclass.
Yeah, absolutely. So where can people get in touch with you? I want maybe tell us a little bit too about your email marketing membership, but also just what's the best way to kind of dip a toe in and get to know you?
Yeah. So my website, AllisonHardy.com, super easy. I'm on Instagram. It's my place I hang out in the online space, Allison_Hardy_. And then I do have a free lead magnet.
Okay.
It is called the $80,000 email template. It's the singular email that brought in.
I've signed up for it.
Yeah, there we go. The singular email that brought in $80,000 in sales in my business last year. You'll get the actual email, a template to add it into your email marketing system, and then an understanding of why it works so well. So you can find that at AllisonHardy.com/80000 email.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Allison, for being on the show. And it's been a fun conversation, and I'm looking forward to May 20th.
Yes, me too. Thank you for having me, Lori.
Uh-huh.